So the third strategy in avoiding research stalemate is very interesting. I'm going to borrow what a professor told me. It's like a record company, a record deal. It is developing your research team. Essentially, when you develop your research team, you're finding 2 to 3 peers that you can trust, that have the goals you have, that want to write like you want to write, that want to do the work you want to do, but finding these 2 to 3 peers that you can trust to write. Remember that they do not have to be your besties. They may not even be friends of yours, but you know that they bring a lot to the table, and you know you can perhaps work with them. It could also be that your research agenda kind of aligns, but find 2 to 3 people that you can trust to bring onto this team. And I'm going to show you how this works. Now, of course, you should remember you can't write with everybody. So the people you select should be based upon their strengths and your strengths and weaknesses. If you know you're good at writing literature, but there's another person good at writing methodologies, you get together. So you need that kind of person. You got a person who's great at APA, bring them on the team. But once you get them on the team, you got to get a plan. And that plan is based upon the deal. The deal works like this. If I bring 3 people onto my team, that's 4 of us total. We all sign an agreement to do a 2-idea deal, which means the 4 of us each brings 2 ideas to the table for some research. Now, and we can commit that over this next year, we're going to all work together and we're going to publish all of our ideas. Now, if 4 people bring 2 ideas to the table, that's 8 articles there, just from your team. Just from your team. And they don't all have to be like heavy data driven where you got to go get an IRB and do interviews and qualitative and quantitative. They can be just literature papers that are very strong. But each person brings 2 ideas to the table or to the team, and you put it on a calendar to work. And whatever person brings the idea, they take the lead on managing that paper. And they tell us where we need to fit in and be. So they may distribute subtopics to us, and we do a literature dive, and we start writing our pieces, and we all bring our pieces to this article. And they, of course, because it's their topic and idea, they work, the lead on it. They kind of captain the whole thing and run it through the APA and make sure it's all fitting and speaking with one voice, and they put it out. Well, imagine if each of us could do that with 2 articles apiece, and we have 8 articles submitted within a year. Very doable, and particularly doable if you follow the reading routine and plan that I detailed in part 2 that we have as part of our program. That reading routine and plan will get you steeped in literature so that you could write a thorough literature paper. And imagine if all 4 of you brought that together. These are very simple solutions to maximize your time in the summer, to get you a running start into next year so that you can maximize your time next year and also be in the publication readiness game prior to your dissertation. Remembering again that those who are immersed in research prior to their dissertation are more likely to persist and complete. Those who take off or get themselves stuck in research stalemate soon get in classwork stalemate and soon disappear. This happens during the school year. If a person can survive that first year of the doc program and still come back and they get immersed in the summers, they're good. It's the ones that say, I'm taking the summer off and I'll see you in the fall, I worry about. It's the person who completes all their coursework and they get lost somewhere in ABD land and we don't see them for another 5 years that I worry about, because they got themselves into some type of stalemate, particularly once you completed all your coursework. All that's left is the research. And if you haven't got yourself deep or steeped in research prior to finishing all your coursework, it's kind of lonely out there. And those people generally don't persist. I've had students who took this model, worked it, they were steeped in literature. So by the time they finished all their coursework and their comprehensive exams, and they sat with me to start charting their dissertation, they were already 150 articles deep in their topic. They were ready to go. Those are people who can get out in 6 months. Those are people who can, like this person who did this for me, one of my former doc students, she was so ready to go that I slowed her down because I couldn't keep up. She was just that, steeped in this work. But she was ready to go because she did not leave anything on the table. And she stayed engaged and she stayed doing her research. She was passionate about her research. She evolved her research when it was necessary. And she, of course, did the deeper dives. And she also published and presented before she did her dissertation. So with that said, let's go ahead and conclude and rewind back. Now, why would a dissertation student be interested in doing publishing in their agenda for their dissertation? Research suggests that those who are more immersed complete and persist on better than those who are not. What is research stalemate? It's kind of a stalled point in a person's research where they're not progressing forward. And I hate to say stalemate because in my belief, nothing stays still. You're either progressing or regressing. So the person just may be regressing, although it doesn't look that bad. So that is a research stalemate where you're just stuck. And most of the time people get stuck in a research stalemate because they lost the excitement about their research agenda and they failed to continually develop it. So what can you do? There are 3 things you can do. We just detailed them. The first thing you can do is start identifying topics for next year, this summer. Take time this summer while you're sitting on a beach or sitting at a resort. Whip out your notebook. Go through your agenda. Start mapping out how it will look next year. Take a couple minutes a day to just think about your research agenda. Ask deeper questions. Develop and evolve your topics. Catch up if you're behind, and if you're not behind, figure out ways to extend the work. The second thing you need to do is do a deeper dive into your literature. Employ the research and literature model that we have here at myadvantage.org. And once again, if you need that, I have prior sessions where you can go and look deeper into some of the reading routine stuff we talked about, or you can check me out and we can talk about a possible coaching session to get you on your way. But develop that reading routine, commit to it, commit to just small weekly goals. Develop and extend your topics and subtopics. And of course, the third one is to get your team together, people you can write with. 2 to 3 people, that's one team. Each person commits to bringing a certain set of ideas to the table, some papers that they want to actually publish, and everyone work together to submit and get everyone's paper submitted. So with that said, 4 people can produce 8 articles in a year. And imagine if you're on 2 other people's teams as well. You're talking about multi-digit production in your research, so that when you're going up for employment in academia and you're competing with people who are already in academia and they're trying to publish and they're trying to get your job, the very job you want, you can show that you are research ready. Most universities may not care as much that you have many publications already in the books. They want to know, are you research ready now? Because they may think you were just on a hot streak and then you fell off. So they want to know, are you research ready? So having on your CV research that you've done, and even if it still has the manuscript ID, which means it's in the process, it's still good. It's still showing that you're research active. So consider all of those things as you are embarking in this summer. Make sure that you're utilizing your time correctly so that you can maximize this time and not find yourself in a research stalemate, and most importantly, not find yourself making an excuse to not come back next year. That's all I have. Great to see you guys again. I'm Derek Robinson, myadvantage.org. My summer camp for rising 4th, 5th, and 6th graders is mathadvantagecamp.com. If you know of anybody who has a rising 4th, 5th, or 6th grader, or to make it simple, a child from ages 8 to 11, let them know about the program. Look forward to seeing you guys next week. Take care, and I'll see you then.